Salve omnes, I've got some good news and some bad news. I'll start with the bad. Greg doesn't do Caesar, but the good news is this is a short section. I will start off with some context. Before this chapter, the Romans have defeated the Britons, and the Brits were going to comply with orders and give over hostages. Okay, here we go. With, pe- with peace having been confirmed by these conditions, after the fourth day, it was arrived in Britain 18 ships, about which it was described above, which had carried the cavalry, set sail from a higher port on a gentle wind. Okay, so some worthy notes. First off, confirmata is a PPP. And then next thing is this is a bit weird, postium quartarum quam est, is a little weird because the Romans did inclusive counting, which means like if this was in English, it would be on the third day, but they counted the day they were on. So if it's Monday today, they'd count Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday if they're trying to go to Thursday, where we just count Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Another thing is ventum and demonstratum kind of sound weird, and I did a literal translation of them because technically they are perfect passive impersonals. Therefore, they would be translated as it was arrived and it was described. Sustulerat is just a regular pluperfect. Um, okay, and just to clarify, portu, this does not mean gate, it actually means port, and it's fourth declension. And then Lenny Wento, you have to supply an on, and this could be seen as an ablative of means. Oh yeah, and the final thing is when it says a higher port, it just means this ulterior portus ulterior is that's actually where they set sail, and this would be the lower port. So it's just describing where from Gaul they left. Just to go over this translation again, with peace having been established by these conditions, after the fourth day, it was a it was arrived in Britain, 18 ships, which it was described above, which carried the cavalry, set sail from a higher port on a gentle wind, which when they had approached Britain and were seen from the camp, so great a storm suddenly arose that none of them were able to hold their course. Okay, so some more notes on this one. Apropinquaret is an imperfect subjunctive with the cum clause, my favorite subjunctive, and viderentur is just a regular passive because they are not doing the scene. And then posset is another imperfect subjunctive, and this is a result clause, and it's that none of them. Okay, so here, but some were carried back to the same place from which they had departed. Others are cast down, main verb, to the lower parts of the island, which is nearer to the setting sun, with great danger to them. Okay, so some more worthy things here. Whenever you see an alie dot 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 alie, assume it's some dot 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 others, so right here. And here, this part's a little confusing. You have to remember that unlike English, Latin has several ways to express direction. And here, the EO is to that place, and the dem is adds the same to it. So altogether it is to the same place, the combination. And in Fourier is comparative, along with Propius. And just so to be clear, the Allier and Allier refer to the ships because the ships are the ones that are being tossed back. All right, and one final thing. Caesar wants to get fancy here, so he says nearer to the setting sun, which we all know is just the west. Doesn't matter where you are on the globe, it's always the west. All right, I'll just go over it one more time here. But some were carried back to the same place from which they had departed. Others were tossed back to the lower parts of the island, which is nearer to the setting sun, with great danger to them. All right, here's the last section. And they, however, with anchors cast down, when they were being filled with waves by necessity, with night against supplied them, having been carried forth into the deep, they sought the mainland. So here they're obviously in trouble because Caesar's mentioning that it's more difficult. Even though night sailing is dangerous, it's even more dangerous just to stay out in the open. So they're going on a night voyage trying to find the island again. And Quai here, although you may want to take it as which, it also can be taken as and they, and I think this makes more sense there. And Anchorus, you can see there's no preposition, so you have to supply a fwib because it's ablative. And here, which makes the most sense, is with. All right, I'll go over it one more time just to tie it together. And they, however, with anchors cast down, when they were being filled with waves by necessity, with night against them, having been carried into the deep, they sought the continent. All right, that's all done. Thanks for watching.